Hi everybody, hope you can hear me. Welcome to the Sunday International Big Book Workshop. I'm Dan B, a recovered alcoholic. Great to see you all here. This workshop is facilitated by Kemble H. The study relies on you listening, but please, I pray that you have your big book in hand and follow along with a pen, pencil or a highlighter. Make any notes and pause if you have to. Also write down any questions and we will take them at the end of the meeting. We will keep everybody muted during the workshop except for the facilitators. Any inappropriate behavior will not be tolerated and you will be removed by one of the co-hosts. This meeting is being recorded. The audio portion only is being recorded and only of the facilitators. The recording will be stopped at the end of the workshop before taking any questions in order to preserve your anonymity. So please have a great meeting. And here we start here with a step 3 prayer if you care to join me. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Thank you all. Over to you, Kemble.
Okay, thank you, Brother Dan. Hey, and happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to the Keystone Sunday International Big Book Workshop. My name is Kimball. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I recovered from alcoholism by taking the 12 steps as outlined in this big book. Of course, somebody took me through it, or another recovered alcoholic took me through the program, and that's what we do in this meeting. We go through the program of recovery outlined in the book. Not quite like the fellowship. The fellowship I was in for 3 decades kept me drinking all the time because I wasn't actually working the program. Just going to meetings, right? And people telling me, meeting makers make it. Do 90 and 90. I tried all that stuff. You know what? And I ended up dead drunk every time. So meeting makers didn't make it. They don't make it without the program of action. That's what's required. If you're a real alcoholic like me, you know, I was suffering from an illness that only a spiritual experience could conquer. And you know, the great part, today we're going to be starting on page 44. The title of this paragraph is called We Agnostics. And this was a huge game changer for me. And this is the beginning of what we call step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Yes, we just finished step 1. Step 1 ended on page 43. And step 1 goes all the way from the title page to page 43. So a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what step 1 really is, right? Step 1 is we doomed to drink unless we do something about it. And we're beyond human aid at step 1, and we can't stop ourselves from drinking, or we can't control the amount that we take. Boom, we got a problem. And I experienced this problem for over 40 years. So just a few highlights and points, then we'll get started deep into We Agnostics. So when we get in the first paragraph, Bill Wilson asks us 2 questions. When you honestly want to, is it true you cannot quit entirely? My answer was yes. I couldn't quit entirely. I don't give a darn what I tried. But you know, this is what we call a malady. We want to quit at times, but then we can't quit because our brain tells us it's okay to take one, and boom, then it's off the record. We are off the chain. So another question 2, is going to ask, when drinking, do you have little control over the amount you take? Real alcoholic like me, the answer is yes. I had no control over the amounts I could take. So that's the allergies. It's due to the physical allergy that we have in our bodies when we reach a certain point. My situation, my case, well, how many of us get thirsty as we drink? I'm sure y'all can relate with me, because when I got to drinking, shoot, after about that second or third drink, boy, my body was screaming and hollering, you better put some more in it. And then the more I drank, the thirstier I got. Seemed like I could never quench that thirst. And then my brain couldn't shut it off. So that's a problem in the mind and a problem in my body. So if your honest answer to these two questions is yes, and it was yes for me, then you are probably alcoholic. Now, I don't judge nobody. We don't tell nobody they're an alcoholic. They have to look at it for themselves. They have to diagnose themselves. I can't diagnose nobody. Alcoholism beyond my pay grade, and there ain't no doctor for alcoholism, right? I just carry the message of recovery. So I can't tell you whether you're alcoholic or not. That's something you have to answer. Yes. So, we don't need to ask ourselves anything else. Not no more than them two questions to determine whether or not we are alcoholic. So paragraph 1, it says, in the preceding chapters, you have learned something of alcoholism. Yes, complete step 1, we was learning something about alcoholism. We hope we have made the clear distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. The real alcoholic has this physical allergy of the body. That's the first symptom. And then we have the malady of the mind. That's the second symptom, right? So, answering them two questions, yes, I'm a real alcoholic. So I spent many years in and out the fellowship trying to prove that I wasn't alcoholic, but then experience and the lie detector said, you are a liar, Kim. There's something terribly wrong with your butt. You ain't nothing but an alcoholic. And this showed me that I was alcoholic. When I found out about their physical allergy and then how my brain works, see, the problem with the alcoholic is centers in the mind rather than in the body. And then that mind said, okay, take your one. You've been sober for 3 days. You feel better. You start looking better. So then you want to celebrate. Boom. Take it right, and here come that allergy rushing in that body. I can't quit. So, but in fellowship, people tend to overcomplicate things. I used to hear so much different philosophies and this crazy stuff telling you need to do this or you need to do that. So, they come up with a bunch of questions. They give you a bunch of crazy ideas. Don't go to certain places. Don't go around certain people. Don't look at certain things. Don't go past the liquor store. Don't go past the drug area where you used to buy drugs. All this don't solve our problem. Shoot, we suffer from something that only spiritual experience will conquer, right? So, them only two questions we need to answer for ourselves. All these other questions that people want to ask you or put out in their meetings, no. It so the two questions, and then in the fellowship they expanded to say maybe 10 questions, and then probably after that here come 20 questions. Next thing you know, here come 44 questions, right? Thank God that Ebby didn't have 44 questions when he went to Bill's kitchen that day. So imagine, here Bill Wilson sitting at the kitchen table, right? We learned this in Bill's story, right? Ebby Wilson happened to be the one, the 12-step Bill Wilson. So Bill had been drinking for 3 weeks straight. Now imagine, just put it in your mind. If Ebby had asked Bill while he's sitting there drunk, has alcohol been bothering your reputation? Well, shoot, it's done destroyed my reputation. So, well, hell, I ain't had a reputation in years, right? So, just silly questions if somebody asks you some stuff like that. Or if Ebby had asked Bill, has alcohol been interfering with your sex life? Well, they ain't had none of that in years either, right? So, either way, but that's not solving my problem. So, then one of these other crazy questions that people used to come up with, well, do you drink alone? Well, think about it. If I'm buying, the answer is yes. And if you're buying, then no. No doubt. So we only need them two questions that Bill Wilson gave us. I use them all the time. When I 12-step somebody through the program of recovery, just the only two questions I need to ask them. Then I can ask them about the little personal information, such as their religious leanings, or maybe their belief in God or belief not in God. But I don't need to ask them all these other questions. I only need them two questions. And then I can ask, well, do you think you need some help? And if you want some help, then that's what I'm here for. And that's the purpose of this meeting. Because carrying this message is very important, and the message must have depth and weight. Yes, and we get that from the program of recovery. But Lord knows, them people in that fellowship, boy, they was offering me Burger King sobriety, take this and leave the rest here, and just all kind of crazy ideas, absurd, insane ideas. It don't work for a real alcoholic. Now, if I was a non-alcoholic, a moderate drinker or a heavy drinker, some of them are crazy questions they ask or they put out in their meetings, they could stop. See, a moderate or heavy drinkers, they can stop anytime. But in my case, being that real alcoholic, no, I couldn't stop. I drank on any and all occasions. I drank when I was sick. I drank when I was happy. I drank when I was sad. I drank when the sun came out. I drank when the sun went down. I drank for anything. If it was hot, I drank. If it was cold, I drank. Shoot, everything was crazy. So, but you know, we alcoholics, we some very unique people. We are a distinct entity. For so we are the few people in the world that have an illness in the mind and a body that can only be overcome by a spiritual experience. We realize that we are the only people in the world that have an illness that is terminal, meaning it is fatal, and we can come out of it though, right? Somebody got cancer, they got treatments for cancer, right? But sometimes the cancer get too far gone, it's terminal, and it's gonna take you out of here. Because I just lost a sister-in-law in December due to cancer. It went through again for a third time so fast she didn't last no time in the hospital. It took her out. But you know, we alcoholics, right? We can come out of this in better shape than we did when we went into it. I've had alcoholic friends ended up dying when I'm close to them because they kept drinking or even doing something else, other drugs and stuff. Thank you, sweetheart. My little baby girl. You know, but this is serious. This alcohol is progressive and it's fatal. It never gets better. It always gets worse. So, we agnostics again. I want to cover a few definitions of the certain type of people we have in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So, one is the atheist. An atheist is a person who says that God does not exist. So, if a person really believes that there is no power on earth for him greater than human power, he thinks he can solve his own problems because he don't believe in God or a power greater than himself. But for the alcoholic, lack of power, that's our dilemma, right? So he thinks his power has all control. You know, I used to think my power had all control, right? That I was almighty. I thought I was all powerful and landing on my flat on my back, drunk again every time. I thought I had a problem. I thought I could solve my own problem. I couldn't do it. So the only power that the atheist can depend on is his own mind. Well, remember this: the problem with the alcoholic is sinners in the mind. So, and then this atheist, he can't trust other people, right? Since there is no God, he must run his own show. Yeah, you know, I'm a believer today, right? But shoot, in my drinking career, I thought I was running my own show. I had to run my own show. But then the show used to whoop my butt because I got drunk every time behind it. It's just my personal experience. So the atheist thinks his destiny, he can affect his own destiny and make his own decision. So a question needs to be answered. Well, are you atheist? You know, this is a question I have to ask people when I'm 12 stepping. I need to know if they're atheists. I need to know if they're an agnostic. I need to know if they're a true believer. And that way I know how to better approach this person, right? How I can better help this person. I help atheists and agnostics all the time. I can tell I was semi-agnostic, or I was an agnostic for all them years I was drinking. But I believed in God, right? But I just didn't think I needed him to help solve my alcohol problem because I thought I was God. See, but this program has taught me, first of all, I had to quit playing God. It didn't work. Now, for the agnostic, he's one who believes that God exists, but because we can't prove to him who God is because we can't see God. He acts as though God does not exist. You know, when I was growing up, I used to look up in the sky looking at trying to find God, right? God, where you at? Well, I'm in panic. That's even when I was 7, 8 years old. Shoot, I used to hear them messages about this burning in hell and stuff. Yeah, but they used to scare the crap out of me. So I'm looking for this God. But I kept going, and I learned that it's got to be something up there that created me, or else why am I here in this realm that I am in? So, but I was acting like God didn't exist, period. So that was me being agnostic, even from a very early age. You know, but for us, for the agnostic, uh, he runs his own show, he affects his own decisions, he stands on his own 2 feet, and he rules his destiny. In other words, he acts exactly like the atheist does. Yet, but this one, the agnostic, he does believe that God exists, whereas the atheists don't believe that God exists at all. So in either case, atheist or agnostic, we are going to have to find some type of way to have this spiritual experience that we're talking about and use this power that's greater than human power, right? Because see, lack of power, once again, that's our dilemma. So we need to find a power that's greater than ourselves, which will solve our problem. And we're going to be going through that today on the next page, as a matter of fact. So for many of us, that seems to be an impossible task, right? So let's see how we can make a transition here. See, it's something we need to experience here. Along about this point. See, the big book. When we go through the big book, we're going through what the first 100 men and women experience. This is their experience. This is their program. They are our original sponsors. So we can take our experience as we study the book and see if we are that type of a person. So they laid out clear, precise directions on how they recovered, and we follow it. And it works. I mean, it worked for somebody like me. Shoot, it'll work for the whole universe. I'm just going to tell you the truth. So, a true believer, let me discuss the true believer first. He is one who believes in God and acts as if he does. He doesn't stand on his own 2 feet. He don't run his own show, and he doesn't rule his own destiny, right? He turns to God for help and gets the guidance and the strength and the power he needs. He believes that God exists. Even the atheist will admit that there is such a thing as evolution, right? See, the atheists, they can believe in this evolution, right? This false Big Bang theory and all that crap. See, they can believe in that. They can believe in electricity, right? Well, even then, there's some type of power greater than them, a power that's greater than themselves, right? A lightning bolt is a power greater than the atheist's thoughts or his beliefs. So, hey, ain't there some evidence of some type of power that's greater than human power? Well, if it ain't, I don't know what it is, peeps. I think most of us are agnostic, though, when we get to AA. We believe in God, but we don't turn to God for help and direction. We run our own show, and we get the same results as the atheist, drunk again. We just had some examples and more about alcoholism, about my man Jim. He went drunk again. That's what happened. See, this problem was started in the mind. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me go back a page too. Jim or Fred, that is. Yeah. See, they thought self-knowledge would fix their problem, right? So, just information from the book. If we don't make no application to it, we think, oh, we done learned this. We done learned this about step 1, step 2, step 3. See, I'm the type of alcoholic. I used to walk in the room or read them steps and traditions up there on the wall. I read it to myself. Oh, step 1, okay, I done did this step. And I read all the way to 12. I said, well, I done did the 12 steps. I'm good. Leave out there me flat on my back again. I'm just gonna tell you, baffled by alcoholism. So here, I'm gonna flash back to page 36. Then we're gonna roll on in the book. So here, my man Jim, right? The first little short sentence on page 36. It said, "Yet he got drunk again." So come down a few more sentences. Then it says he had no intention of drinking, right? Then one more time it says still no thought of drinking. So the people in the media used to tell me try to think the drink through, right? Every time you can't drink the drink through. No, if you're an alcoholic, it ain't no thinking that drink through. No, because you're thinking, it's stinking anyway. And the only way you're going to think it through is by taking another drink. Then you done thought about it, you done took that drink, boom, drunk again. So then he says, still no thought of drinking. And then he says he ordered another sandwich and decided to have another glass of milk. But then here's the word. Suddenly, the thought crossed my mind. Suddenly. See, this thing in the brain that happens suddenly. We don't have to sit there and obsess or contemplate over taking a drink. It happens suddenly, and most of the time. I know it did for me. Because I'd be sitting there, I used to tell myself, I ain't going to drink today. I ain't going to drink this year. Shoot, man, for the day out. Well, I be done took a drink. I be done got drunk. We make many resolutions and promises and all that. I made all kind of promises to my wife and kids and family and employers and everybody else. Shoot, I break the wall down because I'm going to take a drink. Without a solution, we real alcoholics going to take a drink. So this my buddy here thought if he put an ounce of whiskey in his milk that he could drink some and be okay. You know, he done ate a couple of sandwiches. Look goodness, this is what happened to him. He thinking it wouldn't hurt him on a full stomach. That's what he thinking in the mind. Yes. But then he goes on to relate, I ordered a whiskey and poured it into the milk. I vaguely sensed I was not being too smart, but I felt reassured as I was taking the whiskey on a full stomach. You know, people that tell you all the time, if you're going to drink, you get a full stomach, it's going to help you. No, the heck it won't. It just made me drink even more on a full belly because I could tell them, yeah, I done ate, but shoot, I drank when I ate. I drank when I didn't eat. Shoot, I ain't have to have nothing in my stomach for me to take a drink. Not me. Shoot, no. I used to sleep with my bottle right beside my head, under my pillow. So I wouldn't even have to get up and just reach over here on my side when I'm laying in the bed and just do like this and boom, drunk before I get out the bed. Over and over and over again. So here my buddy Jim goes on to relate. The experiment was so well that I ordered another whiskey and poured it into more milk. Okay. That didn't seem to bother me at all. So I tried another. And then we know, here comes another one, and another one, and another one gone, another one gone, another one bites the dust. Drunk again. No doubt. So the reading. In preceding chapters, I know I just covered this, but I like to reiterate stuff because it's a point that we need to bring out when working with another alcoholic, a group of alcoholics. We have to repeat things sometimes because during my drinking career, shoot, my drinking was repeated over and over again. So in the program of recovery, this had to be repeated over and over again until we find that vital, till we experience that vital spiritual experience, a psychic change, a revolutionary change, or whatever you may want to call it. We talked about the spiritual experience a couple of times in step one. We're going to talk about it some more in step two as well. So this is the beginning of step two. So in the preceding chapters, you have learned something of alcoholism. So we don't learn. We suffer from this allergy in our body. We don't learn. We suffer from a problem in the mind. So if we got these symptoms, we are suffering from a sickness which only a spiritual experience will conquer if we are real alcoholic. Now, the big book gives us a good description of the real alcoholic starting on page 21. So we read these things. We see if we qualify. The doctor's opinion describes 5 different types of alcoholics. So we go through them too. And we see, do I qualify? Oh Lord, mine was yes, that was me. That was me. That was me. And I learned that I was a real alcoholic. Only then could I be able to accept a program of action to help lead me to recovery. All the years I said, I used to go to me and say, well, yeah, I'm Kimball, I'm an alcoholic. Just saying it for the heck of it. because everybody else in the room was saying it, right? Sound familiar? Shoot, I leave out that meeting. I said, shoot, I ain't no alcoholic. I'm going to get me a drink. Shoot, the next thing I'm drunk again. That's exactly what it was. So we hope we have made the clear distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. If you honestly want to, and you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. So by the time we get to this point, now we all should be convinced that I'm powerless over alcohol. Alcoholism has me. I ain't got it. Sure ain't, because if I had alcoholism, if I got alcoholism, if I got it beat, then I wouldn't be drinking. I wouldn't be drinking. I wouldn't drink no more, right? Boom, that's my experience. Yes, I thought, oh yeah, I got this thing. I hear people in a lot of meetings used to say, you got this, honey. You got this sugar. You know what I got? I got this darn illness that I'm suffering from. Shoot, I got alcoholism. And you talking about I got this. No, I don't. Not without a power greater than myself. No. So, to the one he feels he is an atheist or an agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. The hopeless variety. Bill Wilson was an alcoholic of a hopeless type. Roland Hazard was a hopeless alcoholic. Eddie was pretty much the same. And Dr. Bob, our other co-founder, he was the same way. I was the same way. Shoot, I was a hopeless and a helpless alcoholic. And it led me to do all other kind of things. Any drug I could get, everything else, because I was helpless. I was powerless. But this book, we're going to talk about power today, no doubt. We're going to be talking about the power. So, but it means disaster. Wow. And it's scary. When I come out of this alcoholism, when I got 12 step and God saw my alcohol problem, I can definitely, as I've been 12 step, I can look back at the things that happened to me in my past and my experiences, the amount of alcohol I took. I was a sick, screwed up person and didn't even know it. I thought it was normal for me to drink like that, y'all. I thought it was normal for me to act that way I was acting. Shoot, insane in the membrane. I thought that was normal. I didn't see a problem with it. Everybody else did. And then when the consequences started piling up on my butt, I could start seeing it then, but that didn't stop me from drinking. Shoot, I go to jail tonight, right? Boom, I get out tomorrow, or when them 12 hours up, I'm drinking again. That's being hopeless, helpless, because I wasn't looking for God or a power greater than me to help solve my problem. I was trying to solve my own problem. Boom, but it don't work. It don't work for a real alcoholic. But check this out. Back to the reading. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. To be doomed to an alcoholic death. This is two alternatives that we have. Either death or go on a spiritual basis, because this alcoholism will kill us in many different ways. Many different ways. It'll kill our body, everything. And I can get in this car. See, I done had experience with several wrecks. Some of them I wasn't driving in. Lord knows, the one I was driving, the first wreck I had, major wreck, my car flipped over down there in Fort Polk, Louisiana, right by my house. I was in the ditch, upside down. I couldn't even get out. I walked away without a scratch. See, we can kill ourselves driving these vehicles drunk. I've been out drinking all night. Ain't no business behind the wheel. No. But that alcohol made me bold. I said, shoot, I can do this. Get in that doggone car and take off. Boom. Crazy. Now that's insane. So, two alternatives. That's the way it is with us alcoholics. That's what we face. So, but then the process that we go through in this book is simple, but it's not easy. A price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. I must turn in all things to the Father of light who presides over us all. Now that was from page 14. If you want to mark it in your book. As a matter of fact, I got the sign on the wall right there. That one right there, that yellow, black, and red one. That's what it says. Simple but not easy. It's not easy because we alcoholics some complicated people. Shoot, we don't want to hear what nobody else got to say. Shoot. So selfishness and self-centeredness, that's the root of our problem. So we don't want to hear nothing nobody else got to say. I can handle my drinking. Shoot, I got it. Next thing you know what I got that flow over there. I got that jail cell. I got that detox center. I got the emergency room. That's what I got. That's what I always end up at. You know, it's no fun. After so long, there's no fun. So the next paragraph, the last paragraph, as a matter of fact, on page 44. But it isn't so difficult. About half of our original fellowship were of exactly that type. So they're telling us here, over half the fellowship in the beginning, they was just that type. They was going to face an alcoholic death, doom. See, the promise of step one is doom. We are doomed to relapse. That's the promise of step one without doing something about it. So I stayed stuck on step one for 30-some years. That means I was going to drink again. And I kept drinking again. So it ain't go no further than step one. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. That means it's time for me to drink. So I go to that meeting, I say, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. So shoot, but I already say I'm an alcoholic. I'm in an alcoholic anonymous meeting, so that means it's time to go drink. That was the way my mind worked, right? So at first, some of us tried to avoid the issue. Hoping against hope, we were not true alcoholics. Yeah. How many of us experienced that? I was always trying to say, ain't no alcoholic, ain't no real alcoholic. I made excuses. I just like to drink. Then when I drank, that allergy kicked in, I'm drunk. I said, well, I just couldn't get enough. See, that's where the thirst come in at. The more I drank, the more I had to put in as well. So, but after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life or else. Check this out. Here's the problem. If you do not believe in God, or if you are not sure that God exists, the 12 steps will still work for you. It worked for me. But see, first of all, I had to quit playing God. It didn't work. So as long as I was playing God, shoot, it wasn't nothing finna change. Not a thing was going to change. So I had to go through this experience of taking the 12 steps. I had to get out of self. See, I had to get out of self. See, like I said, the problem with the alcoholic is centers in his mind rather than in his body. So that means self. Everything is based on self. I explained to y'all before, in my alcoholic drinking days, I had what we call a tunnel vision, right? Like I couldn't see to the left, I couldn't see to the right. It was on the straight ahead to the next drink. That was it. Bam. Doomed. I was a doomed alcoholic. But cheer up. Something like half of us thought we were atheists or agnostic. Our experience shows that you not need be disconcerted. It's just what it tells. They experienced this thing. Now we can have the same experience that they had. And the results, and then we take the 12 steps, we can recover from alcoholism just like they did. No doubt. And that's my experience. Shoot, I recovered from alcoholism February 3rd, 2020. The last day I had a drink in my body. Who in the world would have thought I'd be sober for 4 years? I couldn't stay sober for 4 minutes after my drinking career. 4 minutes, no. Then I tried 4 hours, no. 4 days, no. 4 months, impossible unless you had me locked up behind a ball and chain. No, I was going to drink. People used to ask me to come to places and do things for them. Well, don't drink before you get here. Ain't no way I can get there unless I'm drinking. Shoot, I had to drink before I left the house or stop at the store and get a drink to even face people. Because I don't know what I be done did the night before to somebody, right? Roll Tide for life, bro, right? So, bottom paragraph, last paragraph. The bottom sentence here on page 44. Then we're going on the top of 45. We're going to roll on through 45. So, the book says, if a mere code of morals or better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. Hey, I like that. But we found that such codes and philosophies did not save us, no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral, no doubt. We could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. Our human resources, as Marshall Matter will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly, no doubt. So let me share this little point right quick. If you already have some type of spiritual beliefs, apparently they're not working, right? For the alcoholic problem. Share my experience with y'all again. You know, I used to preach the gospel, the good news, right? I used to preach and still was drinking. See, my beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, and my religion did not solve my alcohol problem. No, because I still was suffering from lack of power. I didn't have no kind of connection with God. Though I was talking about God and all of this and preaching about God, but it didn't work for the alcoholic problem. So, you know, we all have codes. I'm sure we all got different codes. We got morals, right? There are things that we want to moralize. Yeah. You know, we look at the moral law and then we look at these different codes. We all got that because we human beings. We want to do good. Basically, we want to try to do this. We want to try to obey this or obey that, right? But ain't none of that good enough for a real alcoholic. No. The book said it failed utterly. We failed utterly. But if just codes and morals, say take this, like laws. Uh, don't drink and drive, right? That's a law, right? Which I violated thousands and millions of times, thousands of times. Can't even keep up with it. Lord, no. And drove cross country before from Louisiana to Alabama under the influence of Jack Daniels, big baller, drinking and driving. So disobeying the law. So if I could obey laws and I could obey codes, you know, I could have recovered from alcoholism a long time ago. But the problem is with the alcoholic, you can throw all them codes and morals out of the window, no matter how hard we try. Without a solution, we will drink again. So that's what I found. That's what I found out. Because it tells us on top of 45. But we found that such codes and philosophies did not save us, no matter how hard we tried. Well, I tried hard and hard. Man, if I only could just do this. I grew up in a beautiful upbringing. My mother and father taught me so many things. I mean, they was good, great people, beautiful people. They were spiritual people, to be honest with you. So they taught me to have good morals and values in my life. They taught me to have goals. But then when the alcoholism kicked in, all that stuff went out the window, right? Boom, it's gone. But here's the problem with us alcoholics. The next paragraph on page 45. I'm going to dig into this. Lack of power. That was our dilemma. Lack of power. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be, notice this is wrote in italics right here. Means this is a high point. It had to be a power greater than ourselves. Obviously. But where and how were we to find this power? Experience here. You do not, well, I didn't have a problem. And I'm sure if y'all are real alcoholic, we don't have the power to solve our own problem. Must be grounded and found in a power greater than ourselves. It don't matter because whether you're atheist, agnostic, or a true believer, it's got to be grounded in something other than me. Shoot, I couldn't stop myself from drinking. You could have put me in front of a firing squad with whiskey bottles sitting beside me, and they said, "Well, Kim, I'm gonna give you 30 minutes. No, give me an hour. Give me an hour. Uh, if you can make 30 minutes, we're gonna let you go. But if you drink, we're gonna shoot you with seven rifles up there pointing at my head." I would have took the drink, right? Because I played Russian roulette with my drinking. So none couldn't stop me from drinking. It didn't matter what the threat was, what the situation was. Constantly drink. See, now the big book says, obviously, right here on 45, But where and how were we to find this power, right? Now, when the big book asks a question like this, it's going to answer it for us. And it's going to answer it immediately. Because it goes on to say, well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. Notice it says it will solve your problem. It didn't say we're going to do 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. It said it will solve your problem. And it's the work for me. Getting grounded in the power greater than myself, it solved my problem. That means we have written a book which we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. No doubt. See, if a mere code of morals and philosophy were good enough for me, we could have recovered from alcoholism a long time ago. So the goal of the 12 steps, again, is to enable you to find a power that is greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. And it means, of course, that we are going to talk about God. Oh man, that God word is. This ain't religion, people. But this is a spiritual program. Yes, it is spiritual, not religious. So when we mention the word God, it's not talking about religion. People get that confused. No, God is the power that solved my problem and He saved my life. God is in this big book. Ooh, buku times. I got to print out about that with everywhere God is in the big book. I did a meeting on that way back in the beginning. So, wow, it's everywhere. So don't let the God word scare you. We was playing God. Shoot, let's see what the real God can do for us. Something greater than us. But here, difficulty arises with agnostics. Yes, sure enough. Boy, I had some rounds with some agnostics, boy. A whole lot of fun with these agnostics. I said, fool, can you see that TV over there? Shoot, well, you don't believe in God, that's fine. Don't you think that electricity that's running that TV, don't you think the power that this got is greater than you? They have to agree with me. Shoot, they ain't electricity. They can't stick their finger in that plug and make it cut on, right? So they got to believe, look, there's the electricity. It's a power greater than you. You can't see it. You can't feel it. You can't see it. But by George, you touch the wrong electric line, you're going to feel it. It's going to zap your butt and zap you up out of here. You ain't careful. I'm just going to tell you that. So back to the reading. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise as we discuss his alcoholic problems and explain our fellowship. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for a second. Step 2 is what we're starting on right now. This is the beginning of step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can solve your problem. No, it really restores the sanity. I put it that way. And then when we have the experience, we go from step 2 to take the rest of the steps. Brings you to step 12. See, step 2 is confirmed in step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. So we try to carry this message to alcoholics, other alcoholics, and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So when it's agnostic, like his face falls when we talk about these spiritual things, right? This is what the paragraph brings out. When we speak of spiritual matters, it just kind of does something to them. Oh, I got to be spiritual now, huh? No, this is a spiritual program. You can take it or leave it. I mean, at this point, yeah. Please, I hope nobody have a problem with spirituality. But as face fall, when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God, right? And check this out. For we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had neatly evaded or entirely ignored. Like I said, some people, we agnostic, like when I was an agnostic, I knew he existed, right? I used to ponder over these things. Like I said, I never could see him. But I didn't have quite the knowledge that I needed. So he was outside of my mind capacity. But thank God today I have a personal relationship with God. It's the best thing I ever had in my life. No doubt. Happy, joyous, and free, as the big book say. No doubt. But the God word. But here it is. This is solid right here. Even if you are anti-religious or if you are unsatisfied with the God idea, the 12 steps will still work for you. No doubt. So, hey, I'm going to talk about God myself. And when I take people through the program, if they're anti-religious or anti-God, like the atheist people, hey, no problem. But you're going to hear God come out of my mouth. But you don't have to use the word God if you know you're atheist, agnostic, whatever. It's your own conception, right? So I let people make their own choice. I can't tell nobody that they need to follow the God that I follow. I cannot tell nobody else that. No. Thank you. But then, well, she had to bring me a plate in so I can cook. Hey, y'all, excuse me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. All right. So, bottom paragraph here on page 45. We know how he feels. We have shared his honest doubt and prejudice. Some of us have been violently anti-religious. To others, the word God brought up a particular idea of him which someone had tried to impress them during their childhood. No doubt. I shared that with y'all a while ago. I used to be out there as a young kid and out there in the country. I'm up there looking for God. And then I used to go to church. Family took me to church. And I ain't like that God I was hearing about. So that's a mean, cruel joker. Why he create me? Just to screw me up. You know? So it goes on to say, perhaps we rejected this particular conception because it seemed inadequate. With that rejection, we imagine we had abandoned the God idea entirely. So true. Yes, I experienced that, right? When I joined the military. But by the time I joined the military, uh, I look back on my personal experience. I already had this physical allergy because I was drinking huge amounts from the day I got on that plane, lit up. Couldn't even make it on the plane, right? When I took my first flight to basic training, I had this physical allergy then. I ain't know nothing about no physical allergy, right? Till I took the next time I had a break and took some leave. Yeah, drinking huge amounts, but it was cool. I could handle it. I got it. But then years later down the road, it got to where I couldn't handle it. Couldn't control the amounts I took, right? And if I'm trying to control it, I wasn't enjoying it, making myself miserable. And if I couldn't enjoy it, then why even drink it? Well, I drank to make myself feel better, look better, talk better. But my mind opened up a whole new conception, right? Hey, bro,
how you doing? Happy Easter. Hey, you got 2 flocks. I know I gave you one.
Happy Easter.
So she said hello, everybody. Hold on. So we were bothered with the thought that faith and dependence upon a power beyond ourselves was somewhat weak, even cowardly. See, some people look at us right. Well, even today, right? People look at us. Well, he talks about God. He believes he loves God. Maybe he's just a weakling. No, we alcoholics not weak-willed people. We some strong-willed people, right? But then alcoholism weakened our butt because it broke us down. It took us up from a high to a low on our knees and on our back. So no, we not no weak people. We are very strong people because in my drinking career, I was gonna do everything possible to keep that drink going or whatever else I was doing. I'm talking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm waking people up, beating on their doors, their windows to get some money or get whatever I wanted. That's not weak. That's crazy. Then I had some of my old bosses too. They leave the money in the mailbox. I might have $500-600. I've been left at their house, right? I don't need it till about the weekend, right? Next 3 days. Shoot, I'm there about the next 2 hours. Broke as a joke, drunk, and they said, "Well, Kim, I just put it in the mailbox." Shoot, so you come by and get it anytime you want. It's insanity. See, yeah. But then people think maybe I'm a coward today, right? Because I believe in God. I talk about God all the time. I post about God all the time. Today, God has changed my life so much that I can't help but to thank him and praise him, right? For what he did for me. Shoot, I was a dead zombie walking around hopeless and helpless. God. Anyway, a lot of people may have been giving up giving up the God idea, right? Because of what's going on in the world today. But you know what? The 12 steps will still work for you and these people too. They will still work. See, people can look at world conditions. Where is God in? All of this going on. All of that going on. A lot of people simply don't know, but I know why it's going on. Because my relationship with God goes deeper, much deeper than Alcoholics Anonymous, right? But here I prepared a message of Alcoholics Anonymous, but then you can't shut me up about God. Nobody. Only way they shut me up about God, they put me in the ground. That's all I can say about that. So, but then here we go. We looked up on this world, top page 46. Yeah. We looked up on this world of warring individuals, theological systems, and inexplicable calamity, skepticism. We looked askance at many individuals who claim to be godly. Man, let me oh my goodness. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, how could a supreme being have anything to do with it at all? And who could comprehend a supreme being anyhow? Yes, a supreme being is beyond our realm. A supreme being, we can't see him, right? Yet in other moments, we found ourselves thinking, when enchanted by a starlit night, who then made all this? There was a feeling of awe and wonder, but it was fleeting and soon lost. So we sit back and think, right? Even as atheists, agnostics, believers, this is a perfect example. We can look up there. I used to wonder myself when I was growing up, when I was young, when I was old enough to move around and had comprehension, and I was in some type of a world, right? And then as I started learning things, I used to wonder then, well, who made all of this? And you know, it amazed the crap out of me. But see, the supreme being, who I call God, he's invisible, not in the outside of the limits of time. And that can be some baffling stuff, right? You're not limited by time, but we human beings, we are limited by time. We're limited by time and space, as a matter of fact. So, back to the book. Okay, here we go. In the middle of the page, it goes on to say, yes, we of agnostic temperament have had these thoughts and experiences. Anybody here used to have them thoughts and experiences? Go outside at night, look at creation, right? Well, look at that big elephant. That was created by somebody, apparently. All the animals, the plants, the sky, the moon, the stars. I mean, goodness. Other people, ourselves, you know. We had to come from somewhere, so there's got to be some kind of supreme being, some kind of God somewhere up there that I can't see. So they had these thoughts, they had these experiences. I had them even before. Like I said, years ago, I used to think about this stuff. But let me share this though. When I got to drinking and I became a real alcoholic, I ain't think about none of that stuff. God, you just stay out of my way, right? That was the attitude I had. Thank God he saved me before I killed my darn self, right? So then it goes on to say, let us make haste to reassure you. This is very important. You know, I got this highlighted. Matter of fact, I got all this one going on right now highlighted in my book. I got notes and points and everything. We found that as soon as we were able to lay aside prejudice, right? Prejudice against any beliefs that we may have had before. We need a shift in thinking right here, right? Because my old beliefs, my old ways, my old ideas, they was not working. So I need a shift. In order for me to maybe get this alcohol problem solved, I got to change something. And it starts in the mind. See the problem with the alcoholic centers in the mind? Our thinking. That's what tears us up. Our thinking. No doubt. So Soon as we were able to lay aside prejudice and express even a willingness to believe in a power greater than ourselves, we commenced to get results, even though it was impossible for any of us to fully define or comprehend that power, which is God. Notice the word power. Notice the word God in this paragraph. They are capitalized. Supreme being, talking about God. No doubt. All right. Well, I'm about to run out of time today. I don't want to hold nobody up no longer than I have to, because I try to keep the meeting within an hour. And I thank God for all of y'all. And God bless your day. Happy Easter. And I hope somebody got something out of this thing. I'm going to have to check out right after the meeting. So I guess if any questions, thoughts, comments, complaints, or whatever, Bro Dan may be here for a few minutes to take them, and he'll relay them to me.